We all face love, life, and hard choices every day. This is the Dilemma of a Good One podcast. Welcome.
I don't care how long I've been single. I've never been single enough to use Facebook dating. I know for a fact that my man would never be on Facebook dating or use Facebook dating. And y'all really shouldn't be using Facebook dating.
Are y'all really seriously meeting people on these dating apps? Because it's not giving. It's not giving what they promised to give. Hinge, you told me I will be deleting the app, and I have yet to delete the app. So what are we doing? Because I know Paul says in the Bible that it's better to be single. I just don't feel like he was talking about me. Like, I don't think that I'm supposed to be single, but it's giving, I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. That's what it's giving. I don't want to speak it, but I'm just calling it like it is. So where are we meeting people in 2025? Because it can't be the dating apps. It can't.
I'm not gonna lie. One thing niggas be sleeping on when it comes to like dating is just being normal. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on like a first date with somebody I may have matched with off an app or some shit, and they're just like, I'm so glad you're normal. Like, because apparently it must be really that, like, I didn't realize when girls used to be like, be weird, etc. Like, I'm just thinking they just chatting. But like, apparently it's that bad. And like, I've seen the female side of dating apps from like friends and shit, and like, do be sending the most out of pocket shit in the messages. I've heard like crazy first date stories, how niggas be mad thirsty, mad horny. Like, just being normal, just simply being on the date, just simply being on a date to get to know them. You're not trying to show off. You're not trying to be somebody you're not being hyper overly sexual. You're just there getting to know the person. That's already putting you ahead of like thousands of other. Just being relaxed in yourself and not doing too much. Like, niggas be doing too much on the links. Just vibe and just vibe, twin.
Genesis to Revelation. This the story of a good one. In the middle of the madness. Let it be known.
Okay, here we go. DJ Ron, the classic DJ from the Bay. That is the Bay Area of California, where I was born and raised. Coming at you again. Another episode, Dilemma of a Good One. And what is a good one? It's a good man, it's a good woman. It's just people in general, you know what I mean? We all have a little bit of good in us. We all have a little bit of bad in us. But the thing about it is that we're all living, and hopefully we're striving to get better. So I'm excited about this day. A new co-host coming on today just to talk about a couple of things. But before we hop into it, and before I introduce her, I just got to remind you the house rules: to like, to comment, to subscribe. You know, all this helps for up and coming channels such as this one right here. And just understand this: if you feel like you're a human, like I am, and like she is, and you're living and you're going through life, understand we're all faced with dilemmas, but the whole goal of this podcast is just to let you know that you're not in it alone. So we're going to talk about one of those particular dilemmas on the day. So without any further ado, without any delay, I'm going to introduce a young lady by the name of, I'm going to call her by her nickname. I know her real name, but I'm going to call her by her nickname. But this is Miss Kiki Chatman. Say hello to the people.
Hey. Hi. I'm Kiki Chatman. I am a spiritual trailblazer. I am an intuitive life coach, and I am also a spiritual healer. I'm an energy light worker and also a mentor for my Sisters Keepers Sister Circle.
And definitely got some great things going on. And in a minute, we're going to talk about why I asked her to be on the podcast. But why don't we just do this, though? We're going to get into what I call some dilemma beginners. And these are just some questions, 9-11 questions or whatnot. You can just answer short and sweet as they come, okay? So this is what I'm going to ask for anybody that comes onto the show, all right? So the first question, I know the answer, but for the sake of being on the live, being on the video today, have you heard or seen any of my content, any of the Dilemma of a Good One podcast?
I feel so guilty, but I have not.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Well, understand the channel is called Righteous Rhyme. And again, it's the Dilemma of a Good One's podcast. First season is done, 10 full episodes. And I believe it may help quite a few people as the views go up. I think
Oh,
the help is going to be done as
congratulations.
well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. So now here's a question that's, again, there's no wrong answers to these questions. In your mind, are you a good one? Are you a good woman?
Totally. Absolutely. I'm a great woman.
Okay. All right. Nobody's arguing with that. So here's the next thing. Do you care to say your age?
I'm 45.
You are 45 years old. Okay. 45 years young, that's what I'm saying.
Hey.
And how many children do you have?
I have
We're going
3.
somewhere with this. You have 3
Absolutely.
children.
I have 3 grown children. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Have you been married before?
I was actually married to their father for 17 years.
The father of all 3 children?
Yes.
That's an off the cuff question, but I want to highlight that because that's actually a great attribute in a lot of people's eyes, particularly men's eyes. So I just want to highlight that. So how long were you married for? Because I don't know. I knew that you were married. You probably don't remember how we originally met.
No, I remember exactly how we met, and I remember you.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell all your business.
We're not going to talk about it. It's good, right? It's not bad, right?
No, it is. It actually is a little bad. It's a little bad. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, your son, Kalen, is the same age as my son, Kamari. Because, I was
you and the mother was pregnant at the same time.
Yeah, we were friends. And that's how we met, because you came to my house looking for her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Long time ago. But, seriously. Seriously. Here's the thing about it. I didn't want to go into detail publicly, and I'm glad that you remember. Because, sometimes, people say, well, I'll bite the bullet. You know what I mean? But sometimes only one bullet that kills you. And I just want to say this in respect to my son's mom. And you're absolutely right. The two of you shared a mutual friend. But in respect to her, I think y'all are still cool. I hear the smile in your voice. And believe it or not, she's one of my best friends to this day. She's been married for 20 some years. Oh, I love that for you guys.
Oh my goodness.
We co-parented well. Son is doing well and everything else. And she's been a mother to both my kids in her own way. You know what I mean? And like I say, again, one of my best friends. So absolutely. But you got it though. You got it.
That makes me so happy for you guys.
Oh yeah. For sure. So let's get back to you.
Okay.
So you were married for how long were you married for?
I was married to him for 17 years, if I'm not mistaken. I was 17 when I met him, and then I was 21. I was 21 when we got married. And then, so let me see. Look, I got to do the math earlier right now. It was a long time. Look. So we got
the accomplishment.
I guess, we can go ahead and say that. I wish, I love that for the two of y'all or whatever, because, the fact that you could co-parent like that and really just be on the same page for your children, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. We're all not that fortunate. So we got together in 97.
Sounds about right.
And then,
if I'm not mistaken, you were married when we first made our acquaintance. I didn't know that initially.
No, we weren't.
Initially.
We weren't married. We weren't married then. We had just had the baby and we were together. Yeah. And so, we got married in 2021 and then we got a divorce in 2017. You mean
2001? 2001, you got married.
2001. I'm so sorry.
You said 2021. I was going to say that math is not math. All right. All good. So it's safe to say the next question is going to be how long is your longest relationship? But it's safe to say that's your longest relationship, right?
Yes.
That's good. Like I said, it beats my 3 years total of marriage. So yeah, I applaud it. You mind if I ask, how did y'all meet? Just real brief.
I was walking down the street. I had just moved to Vallejo back with my sister, and she had her baby, and we were walking down Sonoma Boulevard, and then he was across the street, and I seen him Yeah, and I seen him in a reflection, and he was looking at me. I was looking at him. He told me to come here, and I told him, "No, you come here." And when he came over, I just thought that he was the finest thing since sliced white bread, honey. Like, oh
Wow.
goodness! And I
So
knew that he was going to be. I knew that he was going to be my. I knew that he was going to be my baby daddy. I knew he was going to be my husband.
okay. Well, I would say that escalated quickly, but no, that okay. I was not ready for that part. Um,
Yeah.
that just goes to show us a note for I heard it before, and they say that women know in the moment that where it's going to go. But the other thing I like to just say that yeah, the conversation, the tug of war is a lot easier when both parties are interested, huh? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, as long as both, I think that honestly, as long as both people want it to work, it can. If we only got one person that is trying to make it move, that becomes something different. And so, it shows, it shows in the results of the relationship.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people learn that the hard way. Uh, but
Absolutely.
I believe that 100%. And shameless plug here. There, well, actually, that's one of my topics coming up. It's talking about to chase who for what, and it's not that um, neither is considered the prize, and or nobody shouldn't have a small amount of a pursuit. It's just that, like you said, when both are not ready, it's a slippery slope. You know what I mean? And oftentimes we get caught up in situations that we really don't want to be a part of, and pointing fingers at one another, saying, "Well,
Can you hear me?
okay, I can hear you.
Why did this happen?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, because now I got to put you on speakerphone because for some reason my earpiece keep coming off of this phone.
Okay.
Sorry about
Okay.
that. So one of the
No, that's
things
cool.
that you said, why chase who? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's a topic that I have. I mean, I got a plethora of topics. So one of them is like chasing who for what. You know what I mean? Like shortly put, chase who for what. You know what I mean? So is there a time and a place for a little bit of a pursuit? Of course there is, but we have to do it carefully, knowing that there can be some consequences. And then next thing you know, you have two people pointing fingers at one another down the line when it doesn't work out. You know what I mean? And it's an unfortunate situation, but it's reality that a lot of people face. If that makes sense? So, who broke off the marriage, or is that a place that you don't want to go?
I'm totally fine with that. I broke off the marriage.
You care to share why?
Uh, I honestly believe that as a wife, you don't walk away until you have absolutely exhausted every single option. And I did, honestly. I stayed with him because I loved him. And I thought that, I met him when I was 17 and he was 19. And then we got married. I was 21 and he was 23. And, I thought that if I loved him enough, I could love him enough to fix him. I thought that my love was going to fix him. And the more and more I tried, the more and more it started to change me. I stayed for each and every reason, which was to, definitely because I loved him, because I didn't want anybody else to have him. I stayed for financial reasons. I stayed for the convenience of the children. I stayed because I didn't feel like getting out of that relationship and having to break somebody else in. And then I think that when it was just, he was very, our relationship was very toxic. It was very, very toxic. He was very emotionally and mentally abusive, which in turn made me, very reactionary and physically abusive to him. And, let me see. And then it also, I was resenting him and mad at him for not being the man it is that I needed him to be. Let me see. and I emasculated him. So being in that space, it was just really, really toxic. And it wasn't until I just didn't have anything left and I was just tired. I was growing, he was not. And I think for him, he was just like, this is how I was when you met me. And I'm just like, okay, we've been together for over a decade now, and people change, people grow, people evolve. And, he felt like I was trying to change him. He also, he just had his own emotional baggage, and I had mine. And so I hope that, whatever noise it is that you're picking up or whatever, that you're able to edit it out, because my son is doing something in his room.
All I hear is your voice at this point in time. So yeah, we'll work on it, and we'll do the best that we can. But you said a lot in there, and as I told you prior to in our preliminary conversation, is that we want this to be organic as possible. So obviously this is a portion that I did not plan for or whatnot. I was not expecting that answer. I think that you are the first person I've ever heard to use the term or to say the phrase that you emasculated him. That's a big word, and I'm not sure everyone understands what that word means.
Emasculating him?
Emasculate. Yeah. What is your definition of that word?
Okay. Well, emasculating him is really just degrading him and disrespecting him and not honoring him as the man it is that he was.
So it sounded like you felt like you did it because of the environment that the two of you created.
I matched energy. A woman, when you're in a relationship with her, she will maximize that man's energy. So whatever it is that he got going on, whether he says it or not, she will maximize that energy.
Okay. Point taken and very intelligently stated. Okay. Well, I didn't, like I said, I just wanted to just give you an opportunity to just share who you are so that the listeners will understand who we're dealing with. So obviously you're doing okay for yourself now, mother of 3, grown children, everything. So applause and kudos to that. Is he, I think I remember his name, but that's not the thing. Is how's he doing today? Is he okay today or?
No, I think that he really suffers from severe mental illness. He's very sickly. He has kidney failure. And so bless his heart.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have any communication. We could not co-parent or anything else. It was a very tumultuous divorce. And so, but I will say it was the bravest thing that I ever done. And I was actually happy. I was happy when I finally did it. I was proud of myself.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to switch gears here. Yeah.
That's going to go deep and it's going to go somewhere else. But look, we can talk about, we can make it another, another episode.
You read my mind. This one right here, and what I typically do when I have a potential co-host, I tell them to give me a topic and I give them a topic. But this is a mutual topic that I wanted to talk about already. And by you hitting on it, I'm like, yeah, this is perfect. So I'm glad that you obliged. So why don't we get into that topic? All right. So what I'm calling this one, is taking applications.
You said taking applications?
Taking applications, because we're dealing with the dating app world. And that's what we're doing, right? When we're scrolling through, we're swiping left, swiping right, whatever way, we're basically looking at applications, right? Qualified, no qualified, not qualified, not qualified, possibly qualified, and so forth, right? So, and my friends known this. It's been a year now, and I just brought you back up to speed again. I did leave the state out of California. You know what I mean? So prior to, I definitely was on a dating app because when I go to this new place, I definitely want to meet some people who want to be met. You get what I'm saying? Similar to like you said, when you ran into your husband, you knew you wanted him, but you wanted to be wanted as well, right? So that's why the two of you initially got together. So looking for people like that. And it does have some challenges, right? It does have some challenges. So when we're looking, we're going through resumes, if you will. We're seeing who's qualified for the job, quote unquote. And I guess what I want to ask you though, because we talk about the dilemma of a good one, you acknowledge yourself as a good woman. What is a red flag in this process to you?
A red flag to me, I think that one of the most recent ones for me is where the men will turn around and ask me all about myself and then what it is that he can do in order to get next to me and appeal to me. But then when I turn around and I ask them questions, they don't want to give out any type of information.
Example, please. Cause I'm like, what?
No,
Example.
seriously. Like, when I was talking to, one person, I really liked him. That actually was my first date from the dating app. And when I was talking to him, he actually would deflect. He would deflect. He would try to answer a question with the question and everything else. And one of the things is that, he runs professionally.
Oh, okay.
When I asked him how fast he can run, he just was like 19 seconds. 19 seconds in what, sir?
40-yard dash. I don't know a lot about running, but I know there's different events that can happen.
There you go.
Okay.
But that's the whole thing. I was just like, when I had asked him later on, because he got offended because I told him that he was guarded, right? Because he didn't want to give me his birthday. I am very much into astrology and I have studied it for years and everything else. And I just wanted to see if we were compatible. He didn't want to give me his birthday. And then he said that once we were on the date that he would give it to me then so we would have something to talk about. But he literally grilled me for every single question it is that I asked him before he answered. But I had told him, I said, well, before when we were on the phone, I asked you about how fast you ran and you said 19 seconds. That didn't make sense to me. And so this man gonna turn around and say, well, I didn't see a point in answering that for to somebody who wasn't going to be able to understand. I said, okay. And not knowing that I used to run track in high school.
Wow.
So you just automatically assumed that I wouldn't understand and I wouldn't know, but he didn't want to give me any type of information. And so that was the thing. I definitely do my homework, especially if it's somebody I've given my number to and everything else. I think that as a woman, prior to going out, you need to make sure that you are doing some sort of homework on this person because it's a lot going on out there, and we'll touch base with that in a minute. But, when I talked to him, I said, I found your Facebook and we had 33 mutual friends. And then so, I had told him, I was just like, well, I saw that you were, all the way in Poland. And I think that that's amazing. Where else in the world have you been? And he got offended. And he was just like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you found my Facebook? Like, and he got defensive and I was just like, I found your Facebook? Like, I mean, even on the app, or you can see that you have mutual friends. Like, we have mutual friends. And so it's not hard for me to find him. And, I kind of feel like I'm a detective anyway, but it was hard for me to find him. And then so he got offended by that because he didn't understand. And I didn't understand the reason why he didn't understand. He was just like, well, I can't tell you where it is, all the places it is that I have been, but I could tell you where it is that I haven't been. And he named off a couple. So I just felt like that was very dismissive. I think that he was interested in a pretty face. I don't necessarily think that he really wanted to be able to get to know me. I think that he checked off a lot of boxes, to make sure that I was going to fit the criteria. But then I couldn't check a lot of my boxes. And yes, he was nice to look at and everything else, but I'm really focused on what your heart and your spirit look like.
How is she going to find out if it's a good fit for yourself? If you check all his boxes, but yeah, okay. So I got a note here, and fellas, that's listening in, here's a note that I got out of that is that be willing to talk about yourself. It's okay to open up, especially to surface questions like that. Man, if I had a chance to get some stamps on my passport, I'd be glad to talk about, I've been to Jamaica, I've been to Africa, I've been here, I've been there and everything else. What's the apprehension, right? Because that definitely is a red flag if they don't want to divulge that information. Like, what do you got to hide? Was you not diplomatic community? Was you incarcerated in those places or something? Like, what's going on? So yeah, I could see how that could be a red flag. I mean, as for and here's the other part about it. It also explains, because it sounds like Facebook dating app is your app of choice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's something we have in common. And it explains why there's some ladies who say, if we match, be willing to talk and and everything else. And I guess stoic is probably not the best word, but it sounds like they're getting stoic conversations and/or what you experience, where they don't want to share enough about themselves or want to share anything about themselves, like they got something to hide, or whatever. You know what I mean? So,
Absolutely.
okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's just going to take you to my next question. And of course, you're going to get an opportunity to ask me. But I just want to say, as for me, my red flag, though, when I go through those, is that when I see, obviously, if I'm taking a look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? I can say, you're an attractive lady.
Thanks.
But when they up in themselves, though, you know what I mean? Talk about how they boss this and they that and everything. To me, that's a red flag, because it's hard to praise someone who already praises themselves. Does that make sense?
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, can I get a compliment in here or there or whatnot? You know what I mean? I won't be able to praise her. You know what I mean? It's given that she's all about herself and more so not about us. You follow me?
I
In
hear
my mind,
you.
that's what I'm thinking, because she's all about her. So you remember the movie Coming to America, when the lady was sitting there and they was talking to her? I think her name was it wasn't Peaches. Peaches was a twin. But they were talking, the ladies just going on and on and on, talking about herself, and they was dozing off and on each other's shoulders and everything, falling asleep. Like, who wants to be in that situation? You know what I mean? When I'm trying to see how many of my boxes that you may check. Understand what I'm saying? So I think that's a potential no-go. I'm not going to even try to match just off that. I mean, smoking, now this is my personal preference, my personal choice, but smokers are also a no, because I've been there and I've done that. I think when I met you, I definitely was smoking then, and I just stopped smoking marijuana. 97, yeah, I just got off the weed. You know what I'm saying? So definitely don't want to go back down that path. But again, that's my personal preference. What you
I
were
had a
saying?
smoker. I did not like the smoker, and I also had asthma. I have asthma, and so we were together though. But for him, he needed to brush his teeth and brush that tongue before you come over here and kiss me, or to get your clothes together and everything else. But he was able to compromise and everything for me and honor me with that. So
The smoking the clothes is cool with you? Because that could be appalling as well.
no, I don't like it, and I don't want to smell like it or anything else. And then so. As a single man, he would, smoke inside of his house. But if he knew that I was coming to spend the night or anything else, he would, air out the house and all of those things. And so he did accommodate me because he wanted me there, but he knew what the smoke did to me. So one of the biggest things is they want a woman, or men have a tendency to want a woman to be, submissive. And they want her to be vulnerable. And honestly, in order to be able for her to be vulnerable with you, you must first be vulnerable first, right? And so there's a lot of men who actually do have issues with, becoming vulnerable. And I think especially for the black man, the world doesn't allow him to do that. And I think that at some point in time, from being, from growing up, being a kid all the way on up with the product of your own environment inside of our culture, you do get desensitized. And you could potentially, depending on the type of parents it is that you have, you can also be emasculated. So I do find in the field it is that I am currently in, where the women are more susceptible to being vulnerable to their healing journey than the men are. And the men are very reluctant and everything else. And so they'll do it, but they always do it in secret. So I got my sister's keeper. I can't create my brother's keeper because there's not enough of them that want to be able to come out and fellowship. but they'll do it privately. So, how vulnerable are you as a Black man who is looking for his forever plus one? How vulnerable are you willing to be in order to attract your person?
Let me just say this, first of all. I think that's an excellent question. I mean, 100% an excellent question. Here's the reason why I can appreciate it. It's because you and I have been Facebook friends for God knows how long. But all I know of you is to be just as genuine of a person as you have presented yourself thus far on this podcast.
Thank
So
you.
what I'm saying is, brothers, she's as advertised, right? Everything she said, I can't think of anything that would make me say, nah, she's capping, she's putting on. No, that's not it. So for you to ask that question, I'm not surprised. I totally was not expecting it, and I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I know that I'm a different kind of a person. If you, so your dad lives in the same neighborhood that I grew up in, and it's safe to say that you grew up in that same neighborhood, although we are a few years apart. I'm 52 years old. So as admirable as you may be, I don't remember seeing you until the night when I came to your house that you talked about the top of the pod.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When so that getting that part of the way. Although I've known your dad since I was like 9 years old.
Right. My daddy, he didn't have custody of me, so I lived with my mother, but I would always come to visit and everything else. So I didn't start living with my father until I was probably about 12, between 12 and 13.
So, and I was grown by that time, which is not long. Well, okay. I was grown by that time. If you remember in 2021, my cousin was shot and killed on the street between my family house and your dad's house, right?
Oh.
She was my cousin, but was more like a sister. She was somebody I could talk to because I knew that I would get a response that was not there was no hidden agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Put it like that. Because I tried it with somebody who may have had interest in me or I may have had interest in her, and of course she goes snatch the conversation away from prospective female to herself.
Mm-hmm.
So my cousin, she was that, and that was the same thing for her. So as of now, I do have a lady I have a friend who's married. She's been married for quite some time. Know her husband, respect him. So thank God for that, right? I don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? I respect the ring. I always have, always will.
Mm-hmm.
Something to be talked about in another part. So every so often, when I do have the moments when I'm going through or whatnot, I know I can talk to her, and I believe that it's going to stay her and I. That's it, and that's all.
Right.
I didn't mean to, had to share all that part. So as far as being vulnerable with a woman that I just met, look, I can have the lengthiest conversation ever, but it takes a lot of chiseling for these walls to come down. You understand what I'm saying? For the same reason, because
what's your sign?
Again, beg your pardon?
What's your sign?
What is my sign? My astrology sign?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll allow it because although I don't subscribe to astrology, I do believe that a lot of the characteristics of each sign are true.
Mm-hmm.
How they figured it out, I don't know. But my sign is Cancer, and it's known to be the most complex of the signs, where I once read that you can have 100 cancers lined up, you can have 100 different individuals. So I subscribe to that part of it.
That's interesting. Okay, I got you.
Okay. Well, you got Matt Dre, you got Bill Cosby, who are very different from one another. You agree or not?
That's so funny. My daddy and he's a Cancer. My oldest son is a Cancer. My niece is a Cancer. My cousins. Yeah.
But mostly good people, though.
I definitely think that they have good hearts. Yes. Yeah. Very
so tender hearts. You didn't like my Bill Cosby Mac Dre analogy?
Yeah, no. Bill can go ahead and sit down. He can have a seat.
They kind of are one and the same a little bit, kind of, sort of.
I believe it.
Anyway, let's get back to the subject.
Okay, come on, vulnerability. So you said that with the woman, it would be hard because you have to chisel. You have to chisel the walls, is what you said, to be able to break them down.
And it's part of my dilemma because the more she knows, the less I like.
Wow.
Oftentimes.
Whoa. That's deep.
Right?
Come on,
Right?
baby.
Because it's most accepted because, another pod that's coming out soon, it's called His Pain, Her Pressure, and Their Race, right? And we're talking about obviously men and women things. But the thing about it is that we go through a lot. And when I say us, I'm saying men and women of the black race. You know what I mean? But it seems like it's a bigger target on our backs. You get what I'm saying? So the thing about it, we don't know who's shooting at us, who's what's real and what's not. You understand what I'm saying? So that's within itself. So it's something I'm working on. I've been working on. All I'm saying is that it just takes time and patience. You know what I mean? But I believe when the right one comes, my plus one, forever plus one, is that what we call it?
I call it a forever plus one.
Okay. So when that person comes along, then I don't mind opening up. And then again, here's the other side of it. I don't mind opening up when I believe I'm helping somebody, helping other people. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Like, so that is being a little bit more tender-hearted, when it comes to being able to help someone. But now you feel like you're putting yourself at a risk when you are talking about your things. One of the things that I would like to do is I would like to encourage you as you're going out there, prior to going out there again, I want you to sit down and write down the information that you're actually okay with actually giving that person, and then also come up with some fair responses, some nice responses for when it's not cool, instead of just being super closed off, because she'll shut down. She'll immediately shut down and everything else. But I do understand the reason why you would feel that way, as far as the more she knows, considering, the things it is that you have been through. And I think that, there's a lot of men who get into a space where it's hard when it's been thrown back in your face. It's hard when, you still trying to accept this about yourself. And so the person it is that you love, who has actually thrown it in your face, now just kind of feel like she beating you with it. And so it's like that's a wound that already exists. And she's putting lemon juice. She's putting some lemon juice or some salt in that. And
in the wound.
Yeah, and that's a lot. But honestly, it's going to be some stuff it is that she got going on where she will be in a space to have to share too. How's she going to be able to be vulnerable with you and be able to do that? She'll shut down. She'll completely shut down, and she'll shut you out quicker than anything else before she tell you, because she got the same thing on the other side.
Interesting take, especially the part where you said throw it back in your face. And it wasn't until the person who I had high respect for said it in a public forum at church. At church, I heard someone I had a high respect for to say that that's a tactic of women that that they'll use it against you down the line. I had never thought about it like that, although I definitely connected it because I had it happen before, but I just hadn't thought about it in that aspect. I'm not sure if that's the reason why I do that. I just like to feel connected before everything is divulged, although I'm open to, right setting, right talking, conversation. I don't have anything to hide, but like I said, volunteering the information, just saying this, that, and the other. Yeah.
That's really funny that you say that, because I don't want to connect until I got all the information.
Okay. That's another feather for the hat. That's just something else to just to think.
Well, honestly, it's because, and I think I said it in my video, we're all picking our poison. And so it's not to say that anybody is perfect or anything else. It's just to see what can I deal with this person, what can I not deal with. Like, you said it on an application. You checking through to see what qualifies and everything else. The relationship that I had with the actual cancer, that's why I said I don't know about being with another cancer. Look, Because that love, the type of love it is that I feel like a Cancer gives you is so deep. It's so deep and it's so nurturing, and it can be soft and it can be sultry. It's beautiful. Thing is, you get on the other side of that crab and it's a cold world, and I don't feel that. Oh gosh, it felt like death. It felt like death, and it felt like when he left, it felt like he took my heart with him. And so that was like the ultimate.
Make sure you're still. Are you still recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. So again, that's a challenge, but again, that's the dynamic of the male-female relationship. But I think that, and as for me, I grew up fast. I ain't gonna lie, I grew up fast, so it was like, we'd have sex before we had in-depth conversations.
Right.
Here at point blank. You get what I'm saying? So at that point, let me just keep it 1,000. There's an edge of respect that's ebbed away, because Mom used to say all the time, she give it the first night, then she ain't worth about nothing. At first, like, man, I don't care, I'm finna get it. And then after you think about it, especially if you live for a few years, like, you know what? It's absolutely right. You know what I mean? But
that's the thing, though, or whatever, because me and my ex-husband, we did it on the first night. And we turned around, had the baby, got married, and was together for 17 years. I think that it's about the law of attraction.
Yeah.
Definitely timing.
Yeah. That's it. So I guess each situation is it's isolated as we go.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question?
You did, when you talked about what you would need to do as far as vulnerability was concerned. And so
keep in mind, my married friend has been an acquaintance of mine for quite some time now. So for her, but she's one of, like I said, just the way she carries herself and everything else, I feel safe with that talk. You know what I'm saying?
And so there you go. Come on, because that's another thing. It's a safe space. It's a safe space. And I am that person. I am that person for everyone, which hence I'm a life coach, right? And so I automatically create a safe space for everyone. And so I don't have a problem with doing that. I think that with my actual journey and my spiritual walk, it's about seeing if he is able to do that for me. And so before we can even get to the space of me talking about what the things it is that I would need, the first thing that they're doing is they're asking me about previous relationships, and they're asking me about the things that happen, and then they're asking me about what it is that I want, and what it is that I would be able to do, for them, or would I mind doing XYZ and all this other stuff. And I just feel like, I've met a lot. It's more than a few where they have taken that information later on inside of the conversation and tried to use it against me.
And trying to use it against you. Wow.
Try to use it against me. So the first thing it is for me is I had a partial hysterectomy in 2016. So I can't have children. I've already had my children, and my children are grown, so I'm in the space of waiting to be a grandmother, right? And so my first two questions for these people are, how do you feel about marriage? And then also, do you want any more children? Or there's a lot of men that actually don't have children. And so it's just like, okay, do you want any children, or do you want more children? Because that's my deciding factor. I have met some phenomenal human beings and everything else, and I know exactly what it is that we could be, but these men were very much established. They had wanted to be able to settle down, and they wanted to be able to start their family. And so I'm coming in with an Insta family, right? And so that's just not where they were. And so I don't want to go through those things or anything else, but I've had that time. I've surpassed it. I'm on to other things. And they, I just feel like one of them, I really liked him. He reminded me of me, and he was over here helping me. I think I talked about on my video. He was helping me with ideas in reference to my business and the things it is that I could do and the suggestions. And he was great. And he was talking that talk about how it is that he would love me and the things it is that he could do. And it was just beautiful energy that we were exchanging. I'd already asked him those questions, and then later on, he brings up, well, how would you feel if I turned around and had a baby with someone else?
Huh?
Yeah, I was just like, excuse me? I was like, I wouldn't feel any type of way because we wouldn't be together.
That didn't even sound right.
And right. And then so he was just like, but wait, you have one. He was just like, I'm not saying that I would, basically have sex or anything else, but, she could be a surrogate. She can be a surrogate all you want to or whatever. We're not going to be together because that's not where I'm at. What I look like starting over?
Well, I think that I believe that there's somebody for everybody.
Absolutely.
Just being willing to receive it. Oftentimes we wait for a package to arrive, and or we wait for that gift to arrive, and then when the package that it shows up in, it's not exactly what we thought it would be. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But and I'm saying that to say he may have missed out on a great gift. But again, it may not have been for the two of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So on that note, that actually brings me to a question I got for you though. What is the type of man that you like? Describe him. Oh, okay. We got jokes on over here. Comedy show.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one. I honestly, it really is about his heart and his spirit. How does he navigate? Is he a man of his own? Does he own his own presence? Does he know who he is? Is he allowed to be vulnerable? Like, can he allow himself to be vulnerable? And then also, could he stand on business? Definitely established. He can be a father, but if his children are too young, then I kind of don't want to do that. I think that the only time that I would probably make an exception is if I felt like he was really, and I knew for a fact that he was an amazing human being. Then his babies would be my babies. However, I would prefer not to have somebody who has like really small children. And so, like one of the people it is that I had went on a date with or whatever, his daughter she was 12. Going on 13. That was still young, but it wasn't that bad. Anybody smaller than that, that's a lot for me. But he would definitely be established. He would definitely have to have his own set of goals, and he would be emotionally intelligent and emotionally available. He would have emotional regulation. He would also have discernment. He would absolutely adore me, and we would both be clingy. I'll almost cuss. But we would both be clingy, but then we would also navigate as our own individuals and just be able to come back to be one. He is a man who actually wants to be a husband instead of a man who only wants a wife. He would love my children. He would love my children as if they were his own. And we would take over the world together. And so there's a lot more to it. But for the most part, I think that it's just really a genuine human being who is actually a gentleman. Somebody who is just automatically going to open the doors, like really believe in chivalry. I don't want to argue with another man about opening a door. You're talking about, you got two hands? I sure do. And guess what? If I touch this door, it's over for us. Okay? And so, a sense of humor. He would have a sense of humor. We'd be cracking up out. He would definitely be my best friend. He would be my confidant. He'd be my road dog. I would be his. Nice to look at. I can go on and on, but he have nice feet. Look, nice feet. And he don't smack. He don't eat with his mouth open.
I'm scared to ask where they do that at.
What, the chivalry or
smacking?
Oh my gosh, you would be surprised. Somebody smacking and then when got their mouth open and you see their food while they chewing it. Oh my goodness.
I hate it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's such a
when I'm with a grown adult at the other table, you know, and it's almost like, should I tell this brother that ain't cool? Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? But hey, you know.
Yeah.
Not everyone was raised the way that you and I was. You know what I'm saying? So we should know a little bit better.
Well, that's the thing, though, because I was raised by my mama. My mother was very sedity. We couldn't get away with nothing. According to her, she probably thought that I was reckless, but I definitely mimic her now. My daddy, I have some family members. And they smack, and I'm like, oh my God. It drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm. It's safe to say your sons don't, though. Am I right?
No, my children absolutely do not. They do not. And then that is one of the things, too, or whatever. In reference to children, period. How old or are you okay with the woman who has younger kids, or do her children have to be grown?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
You know what? No one has ever. Well, this is my first time I can speak it publicly. Mm-hmm. But I'll just say, the last time I really dealt like on a serious level, and I've only done it a few times in my life, so you can kind of guess where I'm going. But I don't like to talk about a particular person, especially not saying their name. But the last time I dealt with someone who had a kid, my son was a little bit younger than hers, and it's unfortunate that her son was her only son, so naturally, you know, she was protective over him. And probably my fault. We never talked about chastisement or whatnot. One morning, he's giving a hard time while we were trying to go somewhere, and mom's not around. You know, and he's just gonna hang out in the closet. He don't want to go. He don't want to go to school and work. You know, and so I put hands on him just like to pick him up out the closet and whatever. I don't know what he told his mama, but the tension that we experienced was we really didn't rebound from that.
Wow.
I think that it's probably still, we're talking about years ago, and there's probably still some resentment there because, you know, mama's son, you know what I mean? And it could have been a whole lot worse. Had it been my son, I'd have not. The twins would tell you, I used to knock them upside the head, live with me, you know. No 911, they grown now, you know. You know what I mean? But I did, though. I did. And they knew not to, you know what I mean? And the thing about it was because I had jurisdiction over the twins, where I looked at it as like extensions of my sons, and they were the same ages as my sons. So I did quite a few things with them, and they, you know, spent time with me. And, you know, it's like I popped my son, I popped them. You know what I mean? So I didn't have that jurisdiction. Had it been one of the twins, had it been one of my sons, yeah, he would have got popped upside, like literally upside the head.
Right.
You know, but it's one of those things we never even talked about. You know what I mean? I think she asked me what happened, and I told her, and I think she's one of those people that just kind of shut down, so to speak, as opposed to, you know, loud and wild about it, which I can appreciate, but sometimes, you know, in hindsight, it's good to talk about it and say, hey, this, that, or the other. But definitely some tension was there. And, yeah. So to answer your question now, I'd be open to mature young people, but that's definitely something we're going to talk about. You know what I mean? I don't need to take over now. You know, you have some women that want a father figure. And again, that's another reason why I do a lot of stuff that I do, because a lot of my female friends have sons who have come of age and their dads are not around. And it's like what you did with your sons, you know what I mean? I saw you raise your sons, so by default, they're asking me to do the same thing. And if her and I don't really have a connection, it's kind of hard to take it there. You know what I mean? But I'm always open to share anything kind of wisdom or whatnot with them. I did it when I was going to college in my later years and everything else, always wanted to do so. So when it comes to the chastising and everything else, no 911, none of that, no child abuse, nothing like that. But it has to be talked about, but I'm not close to it. I think
well, you already put yourself in a relationship talking about potentially whooping the kids. I was just asking, like, if she had some smaller children, do you have to pass her up, or would you still give her a chance?
Don't misquote me. I said no 911. In other words, we ain't got to go there.
Oh.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought
the last young lady I talked to,
huh?
Say that last part again.
I said I thought she was saying no 911, like the baby couldn't call 911, like they couldn't get to the phone fast enough, so you got to them. Like,
nah, that's when Mama got to come in and, you know what I mean, something got to be done over here.
All right.
If it gets to that point, I'm too old for. I mean, come on, my sons is 26 and 32. I ain't put hands on no kid. I know the exact last time I put a hand on a kid, quote unquote. They were just about grown,
Yeah, I still wrestle with my sons, definitely. But no, I don't.
You got some fight behind that smile, though. Okay.
I'm an Aries. What you mean? Yes, absolutely.
There's that. There is, and both my sons' moms are Aries too. That's
I know.
crazy.
I think that if I'm not mistaken, her birthday is right next to mine.
And I'm attracted to Aries like I can't help it. That's crazy.
Oh my God. And that's the whole thing. They say it's the most toxic thing to have a Cancer and an Aries, and I could see that. Like, it's good until it's not, because that's fire and water. That's either going to be some boiling hot ass water, or that water is going to put that fire out. It's just going to be steam. So
I no longer dwell on what they say. I believe any two people can make it do what it do.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I love that for you. I will not date a Taurus. So for any Taurus man that is watching this, peace be unto you. And I hope you find what you're looking for. I will not date a Taurus. My ex-husband was a Taurus.
Let me get back to what I was saying, because the last lady that I had a serious interest in, she was a Taurus. And what happened was I fumbled a Taurus.
No, I think a Taurus would be good for you, though. A Taurus would be good for you as a Cancer.
Let me tell you. I dealt with them in the past when I was really into astrology, and it just so happened this lady was a Taurus, and I was kind of hesitant at first, and I just felt like she was too good to be true, and I let her go. And our mutual friend, who's my cousin, she really liked, and everything else. So when I met another one whose birthday the day after, I really showed an interest, and she had not children, but her grandchildren, 2 granddaughters, who really wasn't no problem around me. But I know I heard her had to get on them a little bit. So I'm not close to it. I'm not looking for that, but I'm not close. I'm open.
Good.
Anybody, because it always starts with initial attraction, right? And then down the line, we figure out whether or not this goes back to what we were saying. When we're scrolling through, we're looking at the application, and then we get to the interview process and so forth, and then I guess it's a probationary period and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's where I am now. Though. So I'm no pressure on my 2 sons, but grandchildren is probably gonna be the way I go.
I have totally applied so much pressure on. I feel like my kids is like on a Mexican standoff with their genitals, because ain't nobody. And I totally enforce birth control and everything else. And these young people, they got that wrapped up tight. Ain't nobody doing nothing. And I love that for them, though, because they're still navigating through life and really just trying to figure things out. And so they're not in positions to have children, but that ultimately it is a goal. And so I think that that's wonderful for them, and I definitely look forward to it. But one of the things that I do want to put that out there to you, and for anybody that's listening, is that when you see a man and how he loves his daughter, that's ultimately how she would want him to love her. And so when a man does not have a good relationship with his daughter, or, he's disconnected, or the way it is that he talks to her, then that is a huge red flag. But even for men, they see how it is that she is a mother. How does she mother her child? Specifically the son, because however it is that she is loving the son, that's how he wants her to do it. And a lot of people don't. We have our children, and the children definitely have unconditional love, but then we, you know, our person is transactional. It's transactional. You want that person to be able to love you, and give you that certain love, whatever it is that your love languages are. And I just kind of feel like for people, if the energy changes, if the energy shifts, and then you stop doing that, then all of a sudden they're going to start to question, well, damn, do you still love me? And so there's a lot of things that go a long way with that. But I think that there are people that are out there where they're just like, you know, they think that they know how to love women or how a woman wants to be loved. I don't want people to be so fixated on what it is that you want to give her. Find out what it is that she actually needs. Also what she wants, but what she needs. Because you're going to have to hit both of those or whatever. But a lot of times people, when we all come into relationships, we speak in our own love language to you until you find out what that person's love language is. But we're supposed to be speaking each other's love languages to each other. And I think that it gets misconstrued. And so this is how people are like not on the same page. And I think that for my marriage, that was the biggest thing. I did not think that he loved me. I needed him to tell me that he loved me. I needed him to tell me that I was beautiful. He did not tell. Everybody else told me I was beautiful. He would not. And when I would ask him, he would say, well, I'm with you, huh? I wouldn't be with you if you wasn't. That's what he would say. And then my love language was words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation, I hear. Yeah.
So later on, or whatever, we were in, this was the only counseling session that we went to, right? And the counselor asked him, well, what do you love about her? And he says, because she takes care of everything. He said, he was like, I don't have to need or want for anything. She takes care of all the bills. She makes sure that we got everything it is that we need. She makes sure everything is in the house. You know, just with any of the toiletries. And I was so offended. I was so offended. I was so upset. I was just like, I can't believe this. And I completely started crying because I did not understand. But now I understand after going to school and then studying and going through all these emotions. Acts of service. His was acts of service. Mine was words of affirmation.
Okay. I didn't even see that, but you're right.
Yeah, so he wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong. This was his thing. And he felt like I didn't have to tell him that I loved him every day. He knew it because he had everything he needed because I took care of him. He didn't take care of me.
You were talking this talk about taking care of everything.
Mm-hmm. And so that goes a long way. That goes a long way. So when you're coming out of the box and you are having these conversations, it's best to get the hard conversations out the way. And one of the biggest things,
I agree.
I will turn around and say, what is one thing that nobody would know about you if you didn't tell them? And that is a road opener. It opens up the door to a lot of things and everything else. And sometimes if we just take a step back to just really just be able to attentively listen, that goes a long way. And people, they want to be seen. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be understood. And those are the makings and the ingredients of how they want to be loved and how they know that you're loving them.
Okay. You have just said a mouthful.
I did.
Wow. and it's great. It's great. And I think in the midst of that, you asked me another one of your questions that you had for me in the midst of that. Okay. All right. Well,
I got some more too. Just so you know.
Okay, we're gonna get to it. We're going back and forth. Because look, you said established, emotionally intelligent, and available, emotionally available. You want mutual clean. Sense of humor, confidant. Here's the thing. You know, this is Facebook 101, right? Just because people don't always click like and or comment don't mean that they don't see what you post.
Right.
So I observed you I observed you at one point in time, and I was happy too. I ain't gonna lie, I was happy for both of y'all. But I saw only one relationship that I seen you in action, and you seem to love hard. Do you go public right away, or does that take a little while? Did it take a little while to get to that point where you were like 100% open and showing everybody that this is what it is, this is what I got, this is what's going on?
Whoever it is that I'm with, the world is going to know who he is. That's the first thing. But that one relationship, he was just as open as I was. So I loved it. I shouted him from the rooftops and he shouted me from the rooftops. We were both we were disgusting and we got on people's nerves. And I was totally okay with that. The next relationship that I got into after him, he was a Scorpio. He was very, very private. He didn't want anybody to know anything. And was very upset about a lot of stuff it is that I was doing. And so, but it was just me being open and everything else. Out of respect for my person, it depends on how it is that he navigates. He will not be a secret, but I don't have to shout him from the rooftops like I did before. So it depends on a person, because I want to honor him and I want to accommodate him.
Interesting. Now, let me take this opportunity because you talking about like things that, because I really was dwelling on it. Like, what is something I wouldn't want to share that people wouldn't know if they asked me to share something that people wouldn't know? Mm-hmm. And I've alluded to it before on another podcast, but I don't know if people truly understand that my method of leadership is more quiet. I'm an observant person, and when I see where you're trying to go, then I look for my opportunity to help lead you to that. You understand what I'm saying? So honestly, I would not go public with the relationship until I got it like that. That's not something that I would jump off into doing, because the opposite could be true, where you're like, hey, hold on, I'm not trying to put myself out there like that and everything. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it comes from past relationship. Look, back in 11th grade, I was in 11th grade. A young lady who I liked and found out it was mutual, and she was like she wanted to keep it under. All right, cool. The next day, the person I went to lunch with one person, and I told him, bro, don't say nothing. I was happy. I'm juice. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Such is my girl. And I guess he had her in his next class, and he told her, and she broke it off that evening. You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
that's 11th grade though. Like, why you hold on to some heart energy from the 11th grade? You gotta let that go. Like,
I wouldn't call it hurt because we connected again since then. So
but I'm saying, what if you have a person where she's just like, because I mean that is the thing. That is the thing. You see a lot of men that's on there and they looking real single. You ain't posted nothing. You ain't put her on.
You talking about me?
No, I'm just talking about men, period. They haven't posted anything. They got a woman, and he apparently done been with her for years and everything else. Nobody knows. But they done seen his kids. They seen his car. They seen his dog. They seen everything, but they have not seen her. And so for some people are just fine with that. And then others, not so much. But I think that it's about meeting your person where it is that they are. So the person that I was with, I had to teach him to compromise with me.
Okay.
And so
teach him to compromise. Okay.
Well, and I mean that's the thing or whatever. If you want to, that goes along with the vulnerability. At some point, are you teachable? Because I'm gonna learn from you. Are you able to learn from me, or is this whole relationship just dictated by what it is that you want to do? Because what if I want you to shout me from the rooftops? I mean, you ain't got to post every day, but look here. I better be on that page. Like, what if that was the case?
It shall be done.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Done deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can appreciate it. I can appreciate it. I understand what it is that you're saying, but, I just don't want you to base it off of that one instance.
Well, again, don't just look at the analogy of the story that I gave you, but look at the point that I made. Unless I have it like that, unless I know that it's cool. You understand what I'm saying? Don't want to jump the gun. Don't want to put the cart before the horse. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So, any woman that I talk to, I'm attracted to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I almost fall in love too fast. You know what I'm saying? and then I talk
Y'all
my
be
way out
love
of it.
bombing people. Look, you will
No.
love
I don't
bomb the
show
hell out of
it.
somebody.
I don't intentionally show it. I don't go all out and buy for this and that and everything else. But what I'm saying is, I'm a demisexual, and I don't know if you heard the term
You say
before,
you a who?
but I'm a demisexual.
Demisexual.
In other words, I know what I like,
Mm-hmm.
and
I'm gonna write that
there
down.
has to be a connection. There has to be a true connection for me to continue to like that person.
Mm.
So, once she fits the criteria,
Mm-hmm.
be it looks, be it just personality and whatnot, it could just be the person that served me at a restaurant. But the fact that she knows how to do so and seem to be doing so, and it doesn't seem like it's an obligation, it's a part of their personality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got me. You see what I'm saying? So then, as time goes on, I talk myself. That's my problem. I talk myself out of it. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's that. But honestly, I don't. I'm at the point now that I don't even want to have sexual relations with somebody that I don't feel a connection with.
Me too. I'm at that. I'm in that space too. Because let me tell you something, honey. Them soul ties, you get that soul tie. Some of that stuff you can't even get off on. Oh my goodness.
I just saw a video and talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for the woman to get it out. And it's hard for men to get it off of him, but it's harder for a woman to get it out of her. I said, oh, that's deep.
And that's the thing right there. So what it is that I do is I walk people through their shadow work. And I'm the person that you would come to find to help you relinquish the soul tie.
You seem to be somebody good to talk to because I feel comfortable enough to go in here.
Come on.
So, yeah, do your thing.
Let me see. What's another one? I feel like this is a good one. There seems to be a double standard in between men and women. So this goes along with the double standard and also accountability. So say that there is a man who has just come out of his hurt heart energy. He was in a relationship, and then he went through the struggle of mourning the relationship and everything else. He has gotten through his healing stage, and now he is fresh out, and his fragility is a lot more sensitive. What advice would you give him regarding initiating his newest venture and allowing himself to open up again for love?
As I turn my hat back and take a sip of my iced tea. Quite frankly, build your immune system back up.
You say what?
Don't rush into build the immune system back up. Don't rush into something else because you're not going to be ready. You know what I mean? There's a song that a lot of people have heard the song. I don't think they really understand what the lyrics are saying. And I saw an analogy or an analysis of the song, and I'm like, that's not quite what he's talking about. But the song is called "Footsteps in the Dark," and by the Isley Brothers. And he's talking about with the same lady getting back with a lady again. And as he goes, he hears these footsteps in the dark. In other words, he's getting reminders of stuff that happened in the past, and it's finna, you know what I mean? So it looks like we're going back down the same path again, like what happened before when it didn't work out. So what happens is, and we don't know how to convey this message, but when you move too soon, this is my experience. Moving too soon with somebody else, you start seeing a couple of flashbacks and reminders of something that you didn't want or that you experienced in the last relationship, and you may not be over that yet. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it difficult for your new person because their intentions are good, but it's reminding you of something that you dealt with, footsteps in the dark. You know what I mean? That you dealt with before. So, and on that note, and it's not to be critical of women, but I believe most women don't understand that. It's nothing for them to, matter of fact, because I've seen how a lot of women work, they always have their rebound bouncing off the top of the glass before they score with the next man. Does that make sense? In other words, I have seen a lot of women who got a situation, but they're not quite ready to leave yet, be it for convenience, whatever the case may be. But they already got that next person kind of lined up. And then what happens is, when they break it off with the last person, they give the next person automatically And that's a recipe for disaster in my book.
I think
Not that it
you're
can't work.
absolutely right about that, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't.
You don't agree with what?
I mean, I think
I'm right, but you don't agree.
No, because there are people, like, I know people, I'm related to people who, before they even get out of a relationship, they've got to make sure that they've got another one lined up. That is some hurt heart energy waiting to happen. And at the end of the day, you definitely need to be able to heal. All of the women are not like that. Yes, we do have options. And yeah, we can get up and go out and find somebody and everything else. Everybody ain't like that. Just because I can don't mean I will.
Okay, so you agree with what I said. You don't agree with that action. I got you.
Yeah,
All right, I'm
because
just
you
saying.
said women are in there, but it's oh goodness. There's a lot of men that are very much like that.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and just say this. It's a story I've shared before, but I seen my mother who was involved with somebody, and she found somebody else. And when she decided to move on, he didn't like it, and he tried to kill her. He killed a new boyfriend.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
only reason why he didn't kill my mom because it was an 84 and he had a 38 with only 5 shots in it. Had it been 87, 89, he might have had a 9mm, had 12 shots, and she would have been gone. I might have got shot too. You know what I'm saying? So that's a short version of the story, but I know where it could be because even though the relationship was rocky or whatnot, she felt like that was just a friend that she was just intimate with. Not saying that was my mother's situation. I'm just saying this is very much what happens in nowadays. The dude think he got a ring on her finger. You know what I'm saying? And, if he feel like if he can't have her, ain't nobody going to have her. You know what I'm saying? So, I've seen it happen plenty of times. People our age and everything else. I know people that's in jail now and or in a cemetery, like Tupac once said, hell had no fury like a woman scorned a cemetery full of MFers not knowing because they didn't know the full diamond. You know what I mean? So for me, she got to be single for 2 years.
Yeah.
I need to know that she's been single for 2 years, and because it gives her time to heal, and make sure that the coast is clear and everything else before she can even be ready for a man like me. You know what I mean? A person like me. Then I feel a lot more comfortable when she's done the work and so forth. So
That's very interesting. Very
that's life.
interesting. So I want to be able to kind of put it out there, and I understand, and that is very unfortunate. I'm sorry that happened, but I can see how that set the tone for how it is that you would feel. For a woman, when we get into that space and we don't want to be with him no more, we have already checked out while we were in the relationship prior to even leaving. And so she's already, once she has actually checked out, and I'm talking about checked out. And how you know she checked out is ain't no arguments. Ain't no arguments. You don't see her happy. You don't see her mad. You don't see her say nothing. She is completely silent because her strength is in her silence. Okay. And that is where you need to be. If she's not reactionary to anything, you got that it's a cold world. And, that love is probably gone or is starting, has started to diminish, but she's already on her healing stage. I can guarantee you for me inside of, my most recent relationship, I had tapped out 4 months prior. But yeah, checked out like 4 months before I actually came out and told him. And so, but I was tired of talking. I was tired of repeating myself and everything else. And it's not until I get quiet and that energy shifts. And once that energy shifts, it's a done deal. And so she could very well have someone lined up, but my hope is that it will be herself.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. That's good. Yeah.
But so what advice the advice to women would you give them? What advice would you give to the women who are going in the house and hiding and longing for love?
Hiding and longing for love?
Yeah, they want the relationship and they longing for love and they hiding in their house because they think that you gonna hurt them. Look. You.
You know what? Honestly, no, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
be intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think anytime you're sincere and you have an intention, um, and you're right. We did get a comment on there, and I will answer it in just a moment. It was directed towards me. I'll answer it in just a moment.
Okay.
But to be intentional, and this is another topic to come up too in the near future.
Okay.
When we get to the bigger our age gets, the bigger our age gets, the more that we have dealt with, and the more that we deal with, the more that we know what we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I could be firm in saying that I want somebody who's had 2 years of being single. The question was that the brother asked, he said, "Why 2 years? Why not 3? Why not 7? And why not 10?" Well, she's just been dusting away for 10 years. I mean, please. We won't know what to do with one another. You know what I mean? Well, I guess it'd be like a bicycle. Once you get on a bike, you relearn everything that you learned before. But I'm just saying, I think 2 years is safe to say. It's a good time to heal, to be able to get yourself together. You went out a little bit, you've been around some folks, you've observed other people and everything else, and you come to the conclusion that you are ready for love.
You are talking like a very mature man who knows himself and knows what it is that he wants. But I kind of want to challenge you on that 2 years, because there's a lot of people that are out there who have been single for longer than that. I had a person where, he had a lot going on for himself. Absolutely wonderful guy. Very funny. He had been single for 15 years. That man ain't did no work on himself.
Is that right?
Yeah. So, and then another person that I had encountered too, he had been single for like 3 years. He had been single for 3 years. That man ain't did no work. So yeah, she could very well be single for 2 years and everything else. But what work did you do, man? How do you qualify? So when we talk about that, what have you learned about yourself in each relationship? And what have you learned about yourself on your healing journey? Like, we got questions, and you got to make sure that that's the answer, because everybody got stuff, right? But what did you learn about yourself in your last relationship? And what have you learned about yourself on this healing journey that you didn't know before? Those are very intricate, because now you can see about the accountability. You can see where the consideration comes from. You can see where their soft space is. Remember, we talk about the fragility and how sensitive that fragility becomes. Like, because the same way you came in it, you ain't coming out that relationship the same way you came in it, right? And so being able to honor that and acknowledge that, because it could very well be that man who now he not in the hurt heart energy, but now he over here with you, and now the more you know about him, he don't like you like that.
Wow, I like how you threw that back at me.
I love you,
man. So first of all, let me accept I appreciate the compliment, and with respect to religion, I give glory to God for that.
I say
now, single is an operative word, right? And everybody's definition of single is different. I personally have been single since December 31st of 2009, because that's the last day I spent a night in a married bed. So I've had my escapades throughout the years, because, you start off strong, and, you slip and you slide and everything else. I've done celibacy and everything else for the most part. I wouldn't recommend 15 years, because it's almost 16 now. Well, it's been going on 15 years. I don't know. You do the math. By December 31st of this year. I wouldn't recommend this amount of time, because you do certainly become set in your ways. But you also, like I said, you gain a clarity of knowing what you want and what you don't want. Mm-hmm. The challenge is, along the way, is you also have your soft spots, right? Because at the same time, it's like, maybe I do need to compromise just a little bit. Maybe I do need to relax my standards just a little bit.
Yes, you do. Uh-huh.
And then the one time, I mean, when I had the perfect near the most perfect candidate, she wasn't perfect. Obviously, I wouldn't have been able to let her go. I wasn't ready, but it wasn't just because of my life. It was also because my mother was real sick and everything else. So I don't have a daughter, but I was very close to my mother, and I did my best that I could to take care of her, particularly in her last few months on Earth.
Bless her heart.
So that is something that I've been working on. Time has allowed me to pick up a little of this, pick up a little of that, learn a little of this about myself, learn a little of that about the opposite sex and so forth. So a dilemma is now I'm at the point now to where it's like, you know what, maybe I should revert back to the old ways and just have like 4 or 5 different women and just, you know what I'm saying, and just have them there because there's nobody who's a perfect protege.
That's a lot of different energy, and if you are, when we talk about perfection, to me it doesn't exist. You can find a flaw in every human being. They wouldn't be human if that was the case. One of the things that I do want to tell you is that I know 3 different couples where one, they are very near and dear to my heart. I consider them family and everything else. They were both married, and they had separated from their spouses. They had children. They both had 2 children each, separated from their spouses, wind up working together, meeting each other 6 months after the separation. They were both still married but separated, met each other, got divorces from their spouses, and immediately got married within 6 months. And they were married for 33 years.
Yeah.
And bless his heart, Mr. Jose. I love him to pieces and everything else, and he absolutely loved me. He made his way out this year in February. But the way that he saturated that woman with his love and the way that she loved him back, they didn't need no 2 years. So I want you to get your behind out that 2-year box, and I need you to go ahead and get your paper and write that down, because look, you're going to get your wife or whatever, but you might be the very thing that's holding you back. And we got to be able to understand that the walls and these stipulations and these rules that we put up, let me tell you something, when I get my hair, I'm going to know exactly who the hell he is. He's going to know who it is that I am. We are going to energetically connect. He is going to be my Osiris, and I am going to be his Isis. And nobody can take that away from you. And I think that there needs to be key things it is that you are looking for in your person that don't have anything to do with the outside. It don't have to do with anything else that anybody else has done or any of those things. It's just about y'all and what it is that y'all need and what it is that y'all want. That's it. Because at the end of the day, it's only the 2 of y'all that would exist. And if this woman decides that she's going to come and be your wife, it's only you that have to be married to her, and it's only her that has to be married to you. And this marriage is going to be what y'all make it. So what we doing?
Absolutely. So I look to the Most High, and when He presents her to me, then absolutely I'll be open. Like I said, I'm not naive to the point to where I just say this is where it's got to be.
Well, I'm going to call it out into the universe. I'm going to call it out into the universe. I'm going to say you're going to meet her, and in 3 weeks you're going to get married to her. And you're going to come back, and we're going to be laughing at this conversation. Look.
And it can't be done. She just can't be 3 weeks single, though. She wasn't just single 3 weeks ago, and that's not happening. But, you know, again, it might be somebody who I've known for quite some time. So I'm going to encourage you to be on the lookout for the pod, you know, as you become part of the family. In that aspect, because again, we all go through some things, but I had a best friend who I felt like was perfect, and it's just, again, an observation that I saw and everything else. You know, it's not good to jump a gun, and there's some wisdom in that 2 years. Although I do realize that I know a couple that, you know, it's a couple of months, and they just celebrate 40 some odd years too. So anything is possible. Absolutely, I believe that 100%. And when she's there for me, she's intentional enough and let it be known, and it's something that I can get with, then absolutely, I'll be more than willing to take the lead and take it from there.
Right on.
Until then,
you're gonna be sitting on that 2-year mark.
Say it again.
I said until then is a hashtag 2 years. Look, hashtag.
Hashtag 2 years. Yes, ma'am. Please, no. Go back and look into the essence of a list. That's one of the pilots that I did. And what I try to do is encourage people to have a list of some things. How else are you going to know what you're shopping for in the grocery store if you don't have a list? You know what I mean?
Ooh,
so,
let me tell you, because that's part of the assignment is that list. Oh gosh, that is,
yeah. I tell you what. Let's talk about your assignment. You talked about it at the top of the call. Let's get into your assignment because I'm sure we're on the same page with this right here.
We are on the same page, but I do have a very significant question too. So you want me to ask that question first, or are we gonna get to the assignment?
It depends on the flow of the conversation. You go from there.
Okay.
Whichever one fits in right here.
Okay, then let me go ahead and get to the assignment because it do kind of go with the flow. So there's nothing wrong, and this goes for male or female, right? And so when my clients come to me, this is one of the things, especially when somebody want to say, Kiki, I know what my type is, but my type don't like me. And then so just being able to understand that and everything else, you might have to kind of flip the script and change that criteria. But there's nothing wrong with knowing what you want. Write a list. And when you create that list, I want you to fold the paper in half, portrait style. That creates two columns. The first column, you're going to write down the qualities and the attributes for your person, for the person it is that you want to be able to let into your realm. Now, on the other side of column 2, I want you to compare the list that you just created and see if you are the individual who qualifies to be in the union with that ideal person. And so you're going to start to see where you need to spruce up at. Like, oh, okay, he ain't going to like that let me see what can I say? He ain't gonna like that when I step out of my clothes to get in the shower or whatever, I leave my panties in my pants.
Kiki, okay, all right.
Like, I'm trying to think of something. Like, I'm not saying that would be me, but I know that that has been a stickler for people before. But he ain't gonna want to do that or whatever. So let me make sure that I pull the drawers and the pants apart, and he don't see it. But you see what I'm saying? Like, compare the list and make sure that whatever list it is that you created. Because you'll start to see where, wait, do I qualify for this? Let me go ahead and get myself together. And that's the start of your healing point. And people don't understand. A lot of times your prayer is sitting right there. It's sitting right there and it's huffing and puffing and waiting for you to come on with it. But the thing is that you are, you lollygagging. You lollygagging and you playing and you're not paying attention. You think that because you prayed that prayer, that now it's going to come. No, it takes action. We got to get into alignment. What does alignment look like for you? Well, you need to be able to create the blueprint for yourself and the relationship it is that you want with this person. You got to qualify for you first prior to qualifying for anyone else.
Okay. I don't think I talked about this on that other podcast. I share my list with 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
One person I met through a dating app, and it was one of those days I was frustrated too. So she matched. I'm like, okay, she looked cool, and I just sent to the list. I'm like, look, you take a look at this right here, and let me know if this worked for you or not. You know what I'm saying? And then she said something back that wasn't all that cool. So I unmatched. The lady found me on Facebook, so I can relate to what you were saying earlier about finding your person on Facebook.
Right.
She found me on Facebook, and we became Facebook friends, and she was a little more, just quite more intentional. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When you come out this way, I'll take you out to dinner, this, that, and everything. We can talk about this list. Well, it wasn't a match ultimately, but she felt like I was asking a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, well, maybe, I'm going to keep this list to myself. I shared it with one other person, and she know who she is, and I love her too. She was an ex-girlfriend back in the days when my teenage years, who's married now, hopefully married. And what I mean by hopefully married, hopefully they can stay married. You know what I'm saying? She's not very happy with her situation.
That's the business, bless her heart. Hopefully she learning about herself while she in this hurt heart energy marriage.
Maturity level is next. Her maturity is next level though, and I think it's just him that's really messing it up. And I appreciate what he had. That's my observation without even saying. I haven't even told her that because I don't believe it. Saw nobody to try to make my plate taste a little bit better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I shared the list with her, and she was like, she could be all of that. And I was like, but she asked me, she said, but are you? I said, I'm that already. You know what I mean? So, you know, we're always cool. We talk. I haven't talked to her in a couple of months, and I'm sure if I was here tomorrow, she's going to pick up, and we can talk, and it'd be all good or whatever, you know. But we're just friends. You know what I'm saying? So I said all that to say, I've went through the list, and I'm gonna do it to others as you haven't done it. You kind of a person. Remember, I talked about find out where they are, and if I'm able to, if I feel like it's a connection, take them to where they want to be. So I am my list in the ways that I am. You know what I mean, on the masculine side of it. So, and I think even though there's 51 different points on there, a lot of them interact with one another, and I know I ain't gonna find a 51 somebody, but you know, if I really get 36, I'd be happy with that, because once again, it's almost like if you're one, you're also 3 other points. You get what I'm saying? Along that way and whatnot. So, in due time, though, you know, time won't tell. But I haven't really even put myself out there really. You know what I'm saying? So that's the other thing. So. You have one more part with your assignment, and then I got 2 closing questions I want to ask you. One of them's going to be a little different.
On my video, I said that I was just like, I am one who does not interracially date. And because you were talking about your box with 2 years, blessing. And so I have a box too, but I don't interracially date. And it's not to say that I haven't seen people of different nationalities found them attractive or anything else, because I have seen some, but I just feel like I personally have an obligation to my black man.
Okay.
However, I don't feel like the black man is necessarily obligated to me. And a lot of times or whatever, there's been a couple of conversations with black women where we feel that I was just like, damn, like, black men, like, do y'all even like us and everything else, because everybody is closed out. What do you, black man, have to say to us black women? What do you want us to know about how y'all feel about us?
Another great question. Look, I'm so glad that we got a chance to do this.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's my pleasure. But remember when I told you that, you know, we want to bridge this gap of miscommunication?
Absolutely.
The highest span of the bridge is that, you know, I'm thinking of the Golden Gate Bridge. You got the 2 arches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 arches are the black man and the black woman. And although they're technically connected, they have something in common, being the roadway of that bridge, they are separate. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You think about the Golden Gate Bridge, right? Can you imagine? Can you see the Golden Gate Bridge in your mind?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One thing I love about the Golden Gate Bridge, so I read this, and I'm fascinated with bridge. I'm fascinated with architectural structures in general. But I read that, believe it or not, the Golden Gate Bridge is always moving side to side because it has to be seismically designed to withstand the flow of the waters and earthquake if it comes. It has to be able to sway a little bit to the left and or to the right, because the shaking of a ground of a very sturdy bridge, it was shattered. And we know that earthquakes are going to come our way, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the song "Can You Stand the Rain," if we can really understand that the weather's going to happen, be it an earthquake, be it the rain, the storms that's going to come and everything else, we have to understand that we're doing our best to stand tall, right? To keep it together, right? Also, with my belief, it's not just about us. It's not just about those 2. It's about the cars on the roadway itself, everything, which connects 2 cities, which connects 2 counties, so on and so forth, right? Mm-hmm. Which is, you know, and it's beautiful to look at. The Golden Gate Bridge is beautiful to look at. Where I live at now, I tell people, if you've never been to California, you at least visit just to see it, the Bay Area. Pictures don't do it justice. My point is this: realizing that we're both a tower of our own, we can still work together to make it work, to make it all happen. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
We either don't realize it, haven't grasped that part of it or don't know how to make it work together. That's our problem.
Well, it's not about the problem. It's not about the problem. We know what the problem is. How, black man,
We don't
do
always
you
know.
authentically feel about the black woman? What do you want her to know?
I want her to know that we are in this together. We have a same cause of keeping it, of being connected and, and being together, But just know that although I sway a little bit to the left and your portion may sway a little bit to the right, we're still working in this thing together. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And as long as we understand that we stay connected, it could be a very beautiful thing. It should be a very beautiful thing.
Okay. Thank you kindly.
Hold up. Does that work? Is that good enough?
You're so funny. No, that's your answer. That's your most authentic answer. That's absolutely okay.
Yeah, we're in this together, and when we work together, realizing that, yes, we don't have our challenges. Sometimes it's going to be more cars on the bridge, and other times it's going to be very few cars on the bridge. Sometimes it's going to be raining. Sometimes it's going to be whatever, birds dropping on the bridge and everything else. It's still a bridge. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And as long as we understand that and we can hold it together, that's the best I got. I just made that up.
Yeah, well, because I feel like at this point, somebody gonna burn your bridge down. But I get what you're saying, though. I definitely get what it is that you're saying. It makes perfect sense because, and I want to be able to piggyback on that. There's a need for the bridge. It has a purpose.
Absolutely.
And so I got you on that one. Definitely.
All right. What would you answer your own question?
Black man, you matter. And without you, there would be no us. And without us, there would be no you. How do we meet each other where it is that we are? You are loved. And we adore you. And we always gonna hold you. There is somebody that is there. You just have to be able to open up. And it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable. And there is a black woman who will create that space. She will support your dreams. She will honor you as the king it is that you are. Stand on business.
Yes, ma'am. I love it.
That's it.
I love it. Yeah. Bridge got to stay standing no matter what. Tie it all together. But okay. No, seriously, I love it. I was just gonna. I already know the answer to that one. Because your mom's still living?
No, my mother, she actually transitioned 10 years ago in 2015. Oh, wow. But she is the most beautiful and gracious and loving guardian angel she could ever be.
Your dad is still around. Juke Joint Ray. I call it Juke Joint because you know the dance he do. I call it Juke Joint Ray.
Look, that's it. That definitely fit.
So here's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it better to die miserably married or to die satisfactorily or lack thereof single?
I can barely hear you. And you need to change that battery that's in that smoke detector.
Is it better? You know what?
Yeah.
Is it better to die miserably?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and get it, black man, because we will leave it for months, and then it's just gonna be beeping in the back every time. You got to edit all that out and it's live. Yeah.
Maybe I gotta get an Energizer. Energizer responsibly. Maybe I need to get an Energizer battery because the batteries I bought just ain't holding.
Or get a battery charger. Get one of those battery chargers that will do it or whatever. But that thing, you need a battery in it. Oh gosh. Blessing.
So is it better to die miserably married or to live satisfactorily single? Or like this?
It just to me or whatever that just doesn't make sense to me. Either way, like, where's your happiness that's inside of you? Like, how happy were you inside of, like, where's the because happiness, peace, and joy, that's all an inside job, and you can't depend on anybody or anything that's outside of you to do that. So I don't think that either one is better. Like, to say that, you know, it's satisfactory. Well, that's satisfactory. Like, basically, I made amends with being single. Is that what I wanted to do? But then also, or whatever, I don't want to die alone. There are people who will get married because they just don't want to die alone, but it's not because they really want to be in the relationship. Like, where is your happy place? And before you left out of here or whatever, did you experience your black boy joy? Did you experience your black girl joy? Do you even know what that is? Have you created that for yourself?
Okay. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm accepted.
Because I mean, I could do either or. I could do either or whatever, but it's about what did I accomplish? What did I do before I left here? I already know that every single thing it is that I put my mind to, I'm going to absolutely do. And whoever is running with me, he coming with me. And we're going to do it together. What you want to do, and we're going to do that together. But what type of woman am I? What type of heart do I have? What does my legacy look like? And I'm not talking about my children. But, you know, you want to leave things better than the way it is that you found them. And that's ultimately how it is that I live my life, and how I would want to leave the world better than when I came into it.
That's well said. That's the way I live my life everywhere I go. To quote it again, Tupac, my aim is to spread more smiles and tears, and that's exactly what I want to do. Leave every place that I went, and just about every person I came in contact with, better than it was before I came in. So, hey, unless you have something else to say, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I have a lot to say, but I've been on for a long time and I'm tired. But it has definitely been a pleasure. I absolutely appreciate it. I can't wait to see the end results.
So, on that note, would you like to do another one? And if so, I mean, I definitely want you to pick a topic and we can run with it.
I would be honored. I think that we had a couple of people that kind of came in here, so I would love to be able to hear their feedback and have more people, not just me and you, but if we can get a panel going, that would be wonderful.
I'm with it, to whosoever will. Absolutely. It's what it's all about. Like I said, we want to bridge the gap. We all deal with dilemmas. You know what I mean? We still strive to be good and to get better. And hopefully, collectively, we can definitely do so. So thanks again for your time, Ms. Kiki Chatman. I'll be in contact with you and just get a little feedback about what is and what isn't. And again, thank you very much. This was a pleasurable experience. Only second time I've done it, so it's been a great. It's been encouraging, to say the least.
Thank you kindly. It has definitely been a pleasure. I appreciate you, and we will definitely talk soon. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Dilemma of a good one. Dilemma of a good one. Dilemma. Genesis to Revelation. This the story of a good one. In the middle of the madness, let it be known.
Gospel Luke cut to a true.
I'm a soldier in the struggle, dilemma of a good one. Trying to read the signs while I'm moving with the hood one. Scripture in my ear, feel the weight of the test. But the streets pull me back, Lord grant me rest. Matthew told me pray, Romans keep me strong. Dilemma of a good one, trying to right these wrongs. Temptation in the mirror, spirit in the sky. I'm a good one in the battle, never let the faith die. This dilemma of a good one, walking that fine line. Faith in my heart, but the struggle on my mind. I'm the dilemma of a good one, standing in the light between the pulpit and the block, trying to do right. Dilemma of a good one, hold on to the truth. From the block to the booth, trying to find my proof. Dilemma of a good one, walking with the saints. Even when I stumble, never showing no complaints. So, rolling through the bay, dilemma of a good one. Gospel in my speakers, never backing from the front. Ephesians on my mind, trying to keep my spirit up. Proverbs in the chamber when the game get tough. Matthew 7 in my pocket, wolves trying to bite. But the good one in the hustle, moving righteous in the night. DJ cut the beat, bring it back, scratch it raw. Dilemma of a good one, scripture in my draw. Dilemma of a good one, faith on my tongue. The land we are so holy, where the real get it done. I'm a bishop in the trenches, watch me speak in these flows. Scripture mixed with hustle, yeah, the good one never falls. It's the dilemma of a good one, like a prayer in the mist. Trying to dodge a serpent's hiss, keep my spirit legit. I'm the good one in the battle, never fade. In the cuts, bay, lingo in Bible talk, never switching up. This dilemma of a good one, walking that fine line. Faith in my heart, but the struggle on my mind. I'm the dilemma of a good one, standing in the light between the pulpit and the block, trying to do right. Yeah. Dilemma of a good one, seek dilemma of a good dilemma. Dilemma of a good one. 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 From the concrete to the pew, Bay Area stand up, spirit strong, never lose. DJ run in the mix, keep it holy in the groove. Dilemma of a good one is for the chosen few. Dilemma of a good one. 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 Dilemma of a good one.
I represent the Yay area.